Hey, yo, what up, guys? This is Dark Lit of Fire. I'm here today to bring to you a brand new video. And with me, I got my buddy.
Strabby, and we're just a couple beautiful idiots.
We're beautiful idiots, emphasis on the idiots part. And we are going to be reviewing a bit longer of a video today. It's going to be about 20 minutes long. And, yeah, I've seen this video making the rounds. I've seen this. He hasn't. And, yeah, I'm kind of really looking forward to this. I'm just not looking forward to how absolutely long it is. So...
yeah, it's one of them Warcraft videos.
Yeah, it's called The Dark Secrets of WoW or something like that, or WoW's Darkest Secret. It's called like WoW's Darkest Secret. So if you guys want to check it out for yourself, I recommend it. We will also be seeing it here, so if you want to see it without us talking over it, that is the best.
Yeah,
way
if
to
you
do it.
don't want us, idiots here, then we understand.
Yeah, fair enough. So let us jump right into it. Which of course I don't have it pulled up for some reason, so let's just pull it up. Alright. And here we go. Oh, there you go. That's the title right there.
Yeah, they usually do.
I'm going to start this off by saying whatever the hell you do not look in the comments section below. Though I don't usually get many, if any, comments on my productions, the ones that are there will no doubt spoil what is to come. So go into full screen mode and let me show you
Yeah, I
this,
remember all
because
that.
I
Drinking
promise
them,
you,
32
it's gonna
ounce
blow your
monsters
mind.
trying to have a heart
I
attack.
believe I've made a WoW discovery that literally no one else has ever found. No matter how much I try to look it up, there's never any results. No DuckDuck searches, no YouTube videos, nothing. And that's pretty damn surprising, considering this is a game from 2004
there's
that we're
your
talking
issue.
about
You're looking
here.
in the United Kingdom.
This is the vanilla WoW world map. As you can see,
Yeah, no.
there's only two
Yeah.
continents, Eastern Kingdoms and Kalimdor. Let me ask you a question. Out of all the zones in these two continents, which one is the most forgettable? I'll give you a few seconds to think about it.
Every single one.
That's just because you haven't played it years.
Yeah, and I don't remember anything about it.
Alright, time's up. I imagine that the vast majority of people probably answered with Desolace, Silithus, Alterac Mountains, Deadwind Pass, you know, the usual suspects. But there's one zone in Vanilla WoW that literally everyone knows about, but is
Oh,
almost
you see they're
universally
doing a new
forgotten.
refresh
And that
classic
zone
server here, like at
is Stone
the
Talon
21st
Mountains.
or whatnot.
No, I
Stone
haven't heard
Talon
that.
Mountains is a contested zone
Yeah,
that
that's what
shares
they're
a
gonna be
border
doing.
with the
They're gonna be
Barrens
doing
and
a
Desolace.
classic.
The fact that it's a contested zone is quite interesting in of
get in
itself,
on
as despite there being many low-level Horde
We'll
quests
see.
available here, for Alliance players, there's almost nothing at all. In fact, I'd be willing to bet that if you're an Alliance main like me, you've probably never even been here before. The zone itself has an extremely unusual
For the
design,
Horde.
and there really is nothing else like it in the game. It's essentially one
No.
giant valley that connects to three different open chasms that are completely different to one another. Due to the zone's odd layout and frustrating quests, even many Horde players tend to skip it entirely when leveling. But I'm not here to talk about the zone or even its quests, but something much, much weirder. We all know that WoW has a day-night cycle that is in sync with the server's time zone. If it's daytime in real life, then it will be daytime in game too. If it's nighttime in real life, then it will be nighttime in game too. A zone's atmosphere can change significantly depending on whether it's day or night, but this is true especially for Stone Talon Mountains. During the day, Stone Talon Mountains just looks and feels like a pretty
Yeah, let me
typical looking
know
place.
how your wife feels about
A
that.
bit of
Yeah,
trees
okay, fair
here,
enough.
a bit of grass there. But at night, this zone, and the way it feels to be in it, almost completely changes. From the hours of midnight to 5 AM, music no longer plays in the zone. Instead, all you can hear is this strange wind ambience that sounds really freaky.
It makes the same
What's
sound
weirder
as my
is that at
asshole
night,
at the same
the
time of
entire
night.
zone
Yeah, you
has
need to
this
stop eating so
creepy
much
red
Taco Bell.
tint to it for seemingly no
I need some
reason,
Taco Bell.
and there's a ton of fog that limits how far you can see. Not sure if you can really notice it here, but the difference when it's daytime is really, well, night and day. Now obviously when I first discovered this, I was confused just as much as you probably are. Why is it like this? No other zone has effects like these at night. It just seems weird. And again, no matter how much I looked into it, no one had an answer. But that's not even why I'm making this, because yeah, it's weird, but it could just be some sort of attempt at atmospheric immersion. No, I'm making this because of a strange phenomenon that kept happening to my character here. If you know me, then you'll know that I'm pretty much nocturnal, as in seriously nocturnal.
Well,
I'm
yeah,
always
who
up
isn't
at night
these
and in the
days?
early hours of the morning because that's just how I like it.
Me?
As a result, whenever I play WoW, it's always in the dark.
Sun
That's
goes
how I
down, so
noticed
do
how
I.
weird Stone Talon Mountains was in the first place. In classic WoW, I had an orc warrior called Warzerg that I would occasionally level up to see what the Horde side of the game was like. Just a way to relax and see what I would have otherwise missed out on my Alliance main. Stone Talon Mountains was one of the zones I ended up leveling in. I remember being taken aback at what a weird, almost psychedelic dreamscape the zone felt like. It reminded me of somewhere where a nightmare would take place, but again, I didn't think anything of it until this happened. This is a screenshot I took at 2:14 AM on the 20th of October 2020. I'm in the Windshear Crag part of the zone, and as you can see, my character is dead.
Really?
You're probably thinking that a mob must have got me or something, but no. The reason I took this screenshot is because my character just died, instantly, for no reason whatsoever. I was just running around doing some quest when he just dropped dead. At
Kinda
first I
whiff
thought
of
that
some of
maybe a
that
high-level
high-grade
rogue
cooter
had got
stank,
me,
that's
then
what happened.
vanished or something,
What
but
the fuck
I
does
didn't
that
see
even
any.
mean?
And according to my
You know what
combat
that
log,
means.
nothing happened. He just
I don't wanna know.
died. I kept this screenshot
Nobody
because I
does.
thought I
It's
would
like
put it
a
in a
come to
future
Jesus
production of
moment,
mine,
rethink your
as
life.
at the time there was a lot of uproar about how badly Blizzard maintained classic WoW,
rethink your
with
life.
there being a ton of bots and gold sellers
will.
flying around. I figured it wouldn't be out of the ordinary for there to be bugs like this too, as, after all, this is Blizzard we're talking about here. Either way, I
But
rezzed
it's
up
not
and carried on
Bethesda.
with my questing before heading off for the night. 24 hours later, and I am, once again, questing in the Windshear Crag. Everything was going smoothly, until once again, bam. It happened again. Instant
got you
death,
again.
no combat log, just
Shut
dead.
the fuck up.
I had never experienced anything quite like this. I mean, yeah, WoW could be buggy, but it's never been this bad. I looked back at the screenshot I took the night before and noticed something really unusual. The time of death on both shots was exactly the same, 2:14 AM. That was just way too much of a coincidence to ignore. I tried to make a post on r/classicwow to ask if anyone knew what kept happening to my character, but it got removed, and then I was banned for no reason. So, yeah, pretty standard.
Apparently
I
that's
decided that this
very
was way
common.
too much of a
Yeah,
coincidence
you can't
to
talk
ignore.
about her like that.
So, I conjured a plan.
Who?
The next night,
The one
at
with the cooter
2:14
stank.
AM, I would
And
have
who is
my
that?
recorder on,
You know
just
who
in
that
case my character died
Do
again,
I?
so that I would have
Constantly
proof
changing.
of this weird bug in action. The following is what I captured.
It's like, a box of chocolates, like Forrest Gump would say. You never know what you're going to get.
What is she shape-shifting like Shang Tsung?
Sometimes.
2:14.
Nothing. I waited around for a few minutes longer, but it just wasn't happening. I figured that it really must have been just a weird coincidence. Feeling disappointed, I turned off my recorder and carried on questing. But then, boom. It happened again. This time at 2:47 AM. 3 deaths in a row on 3 different days. But why was this one at a different time than the others? The only difference I noticed between the last shot and the first 2 is that on the last one, I was at the Charred Vale part of the zone, whereas with the first 2, I was in the Windshear Crag. So, I had
The
another idea.
Windshear Crag.
What if I went to the Windshear Crag at 2:14 AM and had my recorder on then instead? Maybe there it would happen again. So, once again, I set my character there and waited.
Oh, I missed the dancing. It's so stupid.
Holy shit. I now had video evidence of this so-called bug in action. But honestly, at this point, I was starting to think there has to be something more to this. Out of curiosity, I wondered that if I went to the Charred Vale at 2:47 again, if it would happen there too. Sure enough, it did.
So you basically just die at a bunch of random points in the game.
You know, at specific zones.
At specific
2:14
times,
a.m. in the
specific
Windshire
times.
Crag and 2:47
Yep.
a.m. in the Charred Vale. I didn't know what it was, but for some reason,
look at his
at
ripped
those
ass
times,
back.
my character would always just drop dead. It was as if there was an invisible GM playing some sort of practical joke or something like that. But we're not done yet. At the very top of the zone lies the third chasm, the Stone Talon Peak. A very leafy and soothing place compared to the other two. I wondered if the weird deaths occurred there too. Sure enough, they did. 2:28 a.m. I tested this again the next day.
Yeah, I was
and
totally
happened
thinking it was gonna be like
yet
3
again.
something for this one.
2:14 a.m. in the Windshire Crag, 2:47 a.m. in the Charred Vale, 2:28 in the Stone Talon Peak. Every night, at those times, my character would die without failure or explanation. It would never happen in the valley part of the zone, only in the chasms at those exact times. This wasn't a coincidence at this point. I tried to see if anyone
sounds
else was
get
in
you.
the zone
That
at the
good
same
old
time
Cooter
as me,
stank gets you
but
right in the
literally
back.
no
fuck up.
one ever was. Not too surprising, as this character is on Dragonfang, which is, yeah, a very dead server to say the least. None of my friends still played, so I couldn't exactly ask them to get a subscription just to test this. And whenever I would ask other people to come to Stone Talon Mountains so that I could watch them drop dead, they were surprisingly uncooperative. I decided to do some hardcore research to
Imagine
see if
that.
anyone
No one
else had
wants to
noticed
just show
this,
up to die.
scrubbing almost the entire internet for even a nugget of information. But alas, nothing. Well, nothing, except that 2 years ago, back when Classic WoW launched, an old Blizzard developer who had long since left the company, Mike Crond, did a Q&A on the r/WoW subreddit, whereby he answered people's questions about what it was like developing the vanilla game. In his opening remarks, he mentioned that he was behind zones such as Desolus, Feralas, Ashenvale, and Stone Talon Mountains. Despite the Q&A being 2 years ago now, I noticed that Mike was very active on Reddit, albeit almost always posting about non-WoW related stuff. Now, I'm not usually one to pry, but man, if anyone knew what was going on here, it would be this guy. And I'm in way too deep to quit now.
I'm not one used to
I just
pry,
had
but let
to
me just
ask.
pry.
So I did. Now I'm
just
going to be
grab my
honest, I
crowbar.
have no idea how to open a conversation with a guy who I don't know, and who doesn't know me. I'm not a journalist, I'm a WoW player. By nature, I'm very antisocial and tend not to talk to people unless they talk to me. But this guy
What?
wasn't just going to
No
talk to me
way.
by himself, so I decided to try to play it cool. Didn't want to come off as too pushy or anything like that. So I said, "Hey there, is it true you worked on Vanilla WoW back in the day?" Honestly, I didn't expect to get an answer, but shockingly enough, he responded almost instantly. Yup. Well,
Yup.
it's better than nothing, I guess. The ice was broken. I just had a question about one of the zones. Nothing serious, just some trivia that I wondered if you could answer. 2 minutes later, shoot. Talkative guy. I've been on Classic WoW recently and leveling up in Stone Talon Mountains. I've noticed that for some reason, my character dies at set times in the early hours of the morning for seemingly no reason. I know it sounds bonkers, but do you have any idea why that is? It's been driving me crazy for days
Man,
now.
this sucks you in
After
so
I asked
hard.
this, the guy just went completely silent. I'll be honest, I was pretty pissed off. If anyone would know why, it would be this guy, and he just bailed on me for no reason. I figured that all hope was lost and that I'd never know what was behind this. And with my limited audience, there was no way I could make a big enough deal out of it to try to get people to figure it out. So, case closed, I guess.
What else can you do?
Or so I thought. I am not joking with you. 10 months later, I get another message from Mike. The message literally just said, "The SoCal Lady Killer." I'm like, what? No response. Guy just goes completely quiet again. The SoCal lady killer? What the heck was that? I thought that perhaps he had meant to message someone
I knew
else
it.
and this was sent to me by accident.
You
Decided
knew
to
what?
look into it and
So I
this
knew
is
it
what
was
came
that
up.
high-grade
The
fucking
SoCal
cooch
lady
stank.
killer
Oh my
is the
God.
nickname given to an unidentified serial killer who is believed to be behind the murder of 3 women in Southern California throughout the years of 1995 and 1996. Though there is no direct evidence that links the 3 murders together, the modus operandi of the killer was seemingly identical in all of the cases, with the victims' bodies being mutilated in an almost identical fashion each time. The 3 women, all of which were prostitutes, were believed to be lured to a secluded area by the killer, whereby they were then murdered. Again, I had no idea what this had to do with what I asked, until I read this part. The first victim was 28-year-old Whitney Fangson. On the 2nd of August 1995, her body was found on the outskirts of the Wind Shear Lumber Mill. Police reports state that she was officially declared dead at 2:14 a.m. 4 months later, on the 5th of December 1995, 25-year-old Sophie Riven was found in an almost identical state at a hotel room in the nearby village of Los Chared. Police reports state that she was declared dead at 2:47 a.m. The third and final victim was 32-year-old Amy Rassan, who 2 months later, on the 17th of February 1996, was found dead by climbers at the base of Sokol Peak. Police reports state that she was declared dead at 2:28 a.m. Wind Shear Lumber Mill was the basis for Wind Shear Crag. Los Chared was the basis for the Charred Vale. Sokol Peak was the basis for Stone Talon Peak. In addition, the timing of the victims' deaths correlate exactly with the timing of my characters.
That's a pretty morbid thing to
The
be putting in
mystery
a video game.
had been solved. The seemingly random deaths are an Easter egg referencing the SoCal lady killer. But that's a pretty weird Easter egg, don't you think? I went to ask Mike what on earth made him want to add that in the game, but again, I got no response. But this time, it was different. You see, in the past when I was blanked, Mike was still actively using Reddit obsessively on a daily basis. But ever since that last message, he had stopped completely. Not many people know this, but the state of California actually has an online public database of all its residents that states basic information about them, such as their criminal record, driving viability, and yes, whether they are dead or alive. Well, you're never gonna believe what I found. Michael John Crond, 54, death by suicide. On the 13th of August 2021, the exact same day that he last messaged me. Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Crond, World of Warcraft developer from 2004 to 2006, was the SoCal lady killer. Stone Talon Mountains, a zone which he designed, is nothing more than a direct reference to the crimes he committed 10 years prior to joining Blizzard. It is an open mockery of his victims, hiding the truth in plain sight while taking great pleasure in how no one else can see it. Typical serial killer behavior. But
No
if you
wonder
aren't
he worked at
convinced
Blizzard.
yet, then let me show you this. Every single chasm has a rare mob that is a direct reference to one of the victims. Whitney Fangson died outside of the Wind Shear Lumber Mill. Meanwhile, in the Wind Shear Crag, there's an NPC called Taskmaster Whipfang. Sophie Riven died in Los Chared. Meanwhile, in the Charred Vale, there's an NPC called Sister Riven. Amy Rassan died on the base of Sokol Peak. Meanwhile, in the Stone Talon Peak, there's an NPC called Sentinel Amma Rassan. The cherry on top. In the only safe place in the entire zone, the Sunrock Retreat, is an NPC called Crond. Crond, the Butcher.
Jesus.
So the question you're probably asking yourself is, why? Why would he commit suicide? Well, the answer becomes crystal clear if we go back to the SoCal Ladykiller's wiki page. It reads, after being a cold case for over 25 years, on the 2nd of August 2021, LAPD Police Chief Ed Jens announced that the SoCal Ladykiller case had been reopened due to advances in forensic technology that may help finally bring the victims some justice.
Yeah, you gotta watch out for that.
Mike Cron
Science.
knew that he was about to be found out.
Yeah, it'll do you
Thus,
in every time.
he ended his own life as to escape justice. But folks, do you want to know the worst part about all of this? The worst part is, I just made all that up. That's right, Mike Crond is
What a
not
dick.
a serial killer. In fact, Mike Crond isn't even real. Hell, his picture isn't even real. It was generated by an AI. There's no such thing as the SoCal Ladykiller, and my character didn't even die randomly in the Stone Talon Mountains. I just got a friend of mine to use the neutral auction house to trade me a dark rune. Hell, even the character isn't even the same. So, the question you must be asking is, why?
Why?
Why did I
indeed?
make up this entire story? Well, you see, it's simple. If I can come up with an interesting and somewhat believable story that grips people enough to keep them listening for 20 minutes, about the pissing Stone Talon Mountains no less, then Blizzard has no excuse to not write a good story of
I
their
gotcha.
own,
Just,
especially
"Fuck you, Blizzard,
with their
look what I can
ridiculously
do."
overpaid writing team at their disposal. Dear WoW lore team, get it together, you absolute amateurs.
I believe what you call that is burn.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, that was wow.
Yeah, that was wow. World of Warcraft. So thanks for tuning in, guys. Thanks for watching our video. We hope you enjoyed it. Do you have anything you want to add? Yeah, okay. And I guess we'll catch you guys next time. So thanks for
Or
tuning in,
we
guys.
won't. Maybe we'll get away with it.
Or maybe we'll get away with it. Make sure to subscribe, guys. Peace.